Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Justin Carter. I'm a Senior Project Associate at the Center for Rural Affairs, and I'd like to welcome you all to our episode of the Rural Report today. We're going to be telling you a little bit about our 2022 Beginning Farmer Conservation Fellowship Program. And we have a guest with us today, one of our partners on the project, Meg Jackson from the Nebraska Sustainable Ag Society. And would you like to introduce yourself, Meg?
Hi, folks. Really great to be here. I'm excited to be talking about this project and partnering with the center on offering this new program to fellows and kind of the networking of farmers and mentors. I am Meg Jackson. I'm the newest program coordinator for the Nebraska Sustainable Ag Society. I came in just only a couple of months ago, hit the ground running with our annual conference that was held in February. So look forward to doing these projects with you, and we'll talk a little bit more about what NSAS is going to be doing here for this part of the project.
Awesome. Thanks, Meg. Yeah, so great to have you here. Thanks for joining us, and so great to see NSAS get such a great new program coordinator. So I'll start in just by diving into this new program that we have. It's very exciting. So we're calling it the Beginning Farmer Conservation Fellowship Program. And what we're doing is this year, we're going to be recruiting 7 beginning farmer fellows to go through nearly a growing season of learning how to implement different conservation techniques, learning about conservation incentive programs that are available in Nebraska, and also learning directly from a farmer who's currently implementing these techniques. So I did want to mention real quick that we have some other partners on this project too. We're also working with Big Muddy Urban Farm in Omaha and Metropolitan Community College. They're helping us kind of recruit and implement conservation practices that are taking place in sort of that urban Nebraska setting. So some of the need that we saw when we were thinking about this project is, how can we train leaders in conservation practices that are really great for our agricultural lands? So talking about those working lands conservation practices like cover cropping, creating pollinator habitats, or rotational grazing, for instance, things that are hand in hand with agriculture and can do a really great job at helping us to ensure our soil health and our food supply as well. We saw some gaps in some of the programs that are available in Nebraska and all over the country. Some of the USDA programs like the Conservation Stewardship Program, EQIP, the Environmental Incentives Quality Program, really just giving folks an opportunity to learn about these and then become facilitators themselves. And we especially saw this need with underrepresented beginning farmers. So farmers of color, veterans, limited resource farmers, and beginning farmers who are just aspiring or getting their start. So what our plan is for this program is we're going to be working with these fellows from this May all the way up until February of next year. Our individual fellows are going to be paired up with a farmer who's currently implementing conservation practices to serve as their mentor. And I'll let Meg talk about that in a little bit here. The fellows are going to receive some classroom instruction in the fall of this year around topics like federal conservation programs and practices, climate change impacts and mitigation, understanding and addressing racial equity, and also local leadership and facilitation around all of these topics. We're also funding our fellows to take part in some separate conservation field days and educational events that might be hosted by other organizations around the state. And then we're providing our fellows with a $2,000 mini grant to implement a conservation practice on their own land. So they will make a conservation plan from what they learned from their mentor and also from the other content that they received through the program. And then they're going to be implementing a practice on their own farms, and they'll be required to present to future fellows on that practice at the end of the project. And I also just wanted to mention that we're providing stipends for fellows to travel, to meet their mentors, to go to these events. So there shouldn't be any worry about the cost of the program. We are providing that financial aid for our fellows to take part in this. And we will also be recruiting mentors to work with our fellows. And I will let Meg kick us off with the mentor discussion.
Yeah, thanks. So this project is like, as you're hearing from Justin, kind of getting a well-rounded toolbox of resources available for new and beginning farmers. We see the mentorship relationship as another really great resource to fill out that toolbox. Getting connected to the right people can be really key to getting started with a successful and healthy farm. Those relationship building, the mentorship, in doing that through a mentorship experience and program is kind of where NSAS is going to help this project and help farmers new farmers be successful in their journey. Mentors can support that process in many different ways for many different reasons. These are the folks that have the experience and wisdom. They've gone through, years of their own challenges and failures, which have been, they find the opportunities and successes. So our goal is to pair. NSAS is going to be recruiting 7 mentors for this season. Next year, we'll be doing the same thing with Justin and the fellows. The 7 mentors who are more experienced farmers, either currently implementing a conservation practice on their own farm or who have had experience with conservation, experience or knowledge of programs through our local, state, and federal entities that provide those. Or even just, that are passionate about conservation practices and can help guide. Encouragement is really also like a big component that we see in just in the value that a mentor can provide. So again, we're looking for folks in our mentors. We'll be recruiting from some of our NSAS membership, which is statewide and hopefully offers enough of a diversity to pair really nicely with fellows and what they're interested in. So, making a good match with folks. And so we'll be recruiting from our membership. Also, though, if other experienced farmers are out there, if you're listening, we welcome you to, and you're not an NSAS member, we'd still welcome you. Get in touch with me, get in touch with Justin. If you have any interest in being a mentor, it's such a valuable contribution to supporting the next generation of farmers. That's what we really see this as an opportunity to do. And if you've got a desire to teach or guide a new farmer in implementing these practices and supporting them on their journey, we'd love to have you be part of that. So you'll be able to get in touch with me or Justin. The obligations, if we would, like the expectations that we have of mentors is, so it'll be this first round with the program, like Justin mentioned, is about, we're going to be recruiting now for May through and getting paired, going with your fellow through a growing season. They'll be also taking part in like building their own conservation, building a conservation program or plan. and providing guidance on that. And then kind of culminating it at the next year's local food and farm conference, which is probably going to be in February, early February of next year. We'll be able to provide mentors a discounted or comped ticket to the conference to be able to join their fellow at that. And then setting up 3 visits together, and we see the fellow and mentor both kind of talking about what those visits would be, how those visits would be most beneficial to both people involved. That could be having your fellow visit your farm as the mentor, or going to visit the mentee's farm, or finding a third farm for both of you to go visit and expand that experience, which, you know, kind of brings me to this other, like, the other value of a mentor relationship. It isn't just one way. I think that we're going to find our mentors also receiving, you know, the insight and that comes from working with people that, you know, with a new farmer. The insight that just comes out of being curious and inquisitive and going through challenges, that there'll probably be, you know, hopefully a two-way learning opportunities, and you know, the relationship value, the relationship and connection, the value of that too. So 3 visits. We also have stipends or honor, I'm not sure if we're calling honorariums or stipends, to be able to provide mentors for that service too. That just helps with, you know, there's mileage costs, but it's like $750 for the whole program term, as, you know, just a token of appreciation for time. You know, you're offering an invaluable resource as time and your experience to new and beginning farmers. And then, yeah, so it's 3 visits with your mentee, coming to the conference together, helping them guide or giving guidance on their conservation plan as that's being developed. And I see my role and Justin here too, and being able to, and like also really helping to guide or support those relationships between fellows and mentors, helping fellows really articulate their goals for the program or for the relationship. So a mentor has a really clear expectation of what somebody wants to get out of the relationship, out of the experience, and out of the mentorship, and will be available to help make sure that those questions are being even asked, and that's kind of being articulated. Let's see, Justin, am I missing anything from the mentor piece?
I don't think so. I think that was a great explanation of it. And yeah, I'm just going to say that I agree 100% with Meg. I've talked to numerous farmers, especially young farmers who are just about 5 years in or so, around Nebraska, around Iowa. And so many of them told me that really what put them on the path to success was having a mentor of some sort, or working through some sort of apprenticeship program where they were able to learn those hands-on technical skills from experienced farmers. So really looking forward to providing this for folks. I can get into a little bit of the expectations for fellows. I know Meg kind of got into it a little bit there, but we are really looking for folks who, yeah, the relationship with the mentor will be reciprocal in a way. Our fellows will come with some goals in mind of what they want to do on their farms or with their land. So just, obviously the point of the program is figuring it out, but just having, a little bit of an idea and some goals in mind and some questions to ask your mentor. It would help quite a bit if our fellows had some sort of land to grow on, or if they're currently growing something right now. You know, they'll be implementing a conservation practice, so it doesn't have to be a large plot of land, but just some space where they can put that practice into place. And yeah, I would say the biggest thing is just a passion for these issues, these conservation related issues, and a real motivation to put them in place.
You know, just I think one of what's so, there's so many valuable pieces with this program. I'm really excited about it, and I hope it's something that we find works really well. We can fine tune over the years, and continues to be offered. But you know, I'm just thinking about how fellows, like, also part of this is like, so with the conservation training and the kind of the priority we're putting on the conservation practices. So we're recruiting people that already have an interest in building healthy, thriving farms with conservation practices. But another component to this, I know Justin is going to, in this project, is empowering fellows to also want to teach those conservation practices once, you know, they've evolved through this program, having the training, having the mentorship, that, you know, someday down their road and their journey of becoming an experienced farmer, passing that on, and coming back as a mentor and a leader in conservation practices, like a leader and a teacher, a mentor, whatever, in conservation practices. So we get to kind of continue that cycle.
Yeah, we're training trainers, right? So you be motivated to teach these things and to be a leader around them. Yeah, I like the way you put that, Meg. Couple other like logistical details. We're hoping to introduce our fellows and mentors during the second week of May. So we're on a pretty short timeline here, but we are looking to get applications in by May 3rd. So if you're submitting an application, please get it in by May 3rd, and we're going to review those quick and get back to folks. All are welcome to apply. We really encourage folks from those underrepresented groups that I mentioned earlier, farmers of color, veterans, beginning farmers, to please apply. And there's also a language accessibility piece to this as well. So we'll be releasing an application in Spanish later today or maybe tomorrow morning. And we encourage, if you know folks who only speak Spanish, to please pass the application on to them. And we'll be doing some other social media work to get outreach to those Spanish-speaking audiences as well. And if we get a fellow who only speaks Spanish, we will work with them to pair them with a Spanish-speaking mentor, of course. So I think that's all I have. Did you have any closing thoughts, Meg?
I mean, I just like, how are we going to just kind of give folks the information for, if you are interested in being a mentor, reach out to me, Meg. My email address is programcoordinator@sustainablenebraska.org. Well, also our NSAS website is sustainablenebraska.org as well. So find us there, find us on Facebook. We'll be releasing information about the mentorship piece of this in the next week or so, couple of days.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. Thanks for reminding me too. So, the application, the actual process. So the application is live right now. It just came out today, and it should be popping up in the comments below this video. If you have any questions about it, always feel free to reach out to me too at justinc@cfra.org, and we'll get those email addresses put in the comments as well. All right, well, thank you all. Thanks so much for joining us. Really looking forward to meeting our future fellows and getting this program kicked off.
Thanks, folks. Thanks, Justin, for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Meg.